Well, I'm familiar with my beginning, but I'm not sure where my end is yet. Closer? Oh. Is that better? Okay. I'll start over again. I was sitting there thinking of all the things that I could say, and they just flew out of my mind. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Anyway. Yes. Well, it's about time a woman got up here to do this. Well, I have two stories, and I'm not going to tell them both. I'll let you pick. One is about sheep, and the other is about Eddie Fisher.
Eddie Fisher.
Now, most people here don't want to hear about Eddie Fisher, but I can start with that. When I was in high school, we had a sorority, believe it or not. And all the girls were in different categories in the sororities. There were the bright kids, the ones that jumped around at the football games, and everybody had something in common that were in these groups. So I had a friend by the name of Marion Hollingsworth, and she was Marion on the Philadelphia radio station on what's the name of it? It was the something hour, and she was the main participant, main character in this, and Eddie Fisher sang all the songs. So they became very good friends. They were boyfriend and girlfriend, and this went on for many years. And then one night, Eddie Fisher decided to come to my house. We were having a sorority meeting, and we invited him to come. So he came with his friend, Joe, somebody, who was the comedian in this radio program. I know it's called The Magic Lady. So he came, they arrived, and of course everybody was swooning over Eddie Fisher. The kids in the neighborhood were lined up under our bay window to hear him. And he said, "What songs do you know?" I had a piano in there. I said, "Well, what songs do you know?" So we came up with "This Is No Laughing Matter." I don't know if you remember that song. That's quite a ways back for most of you. And he came to the piano, and I sat down and I played "This Is No Laughing Matter." And he said, "Boy, you're a great pianist. You should do something with that." Well, of course, I never did. But everybody was in hysterics because Eddie Fisher was there, and he had sung for us, which was really a big deal. So that's one story. You want to hear the sheep story?
Yes.
Well, my first husband was sort of a farmer. Sort of. He did some farming things like cutting grass and planting soybeans, which he said were the next popular thing that was going to make him rich. And he also had 35 sheep. And the 35 sheep were housed in a barn not too far from where we lived. And we would go up every night and do what you do with sheep when they're in the barn. And I found out that our sheep, some of them were dying, and nobody knew what they were dying from. The man that we rented the property from was an old farmer, very old farmer, and he was concerned about it. So I went up. My husband was not going to do this, so I went up to the barn and talked to the farmer, and I said, "We're going to take these sheep down to the new Bolton Center." So I drove the truck. We had a truck. We put the thing on the back so the sheep could walk up into the truck. And we headed off for the new Bolton Center. Well, when they saw these sheep, they said definitely they would take them there. So then we had to drive back to Westchester. So now here, you got to picture this. This is the fashionista here. Is in you remember the old barn coats with the toggles on them? Well, I'm in that, and I have a babushka on my head. And I had on barn boots, those big sloppy galoshes things that you wear in a barn. And we went, and he didn't look much better. He had on another another barn coat. And he had on he was in the Navy, and he had one of those Navy berets that they use pulled down almost over their ears. And he was missing several teeth. And here the fashionista was going to take this man down to the New Bolton Center. So away we went, and we dropped them off. And coming back, I thought, gee, this guy's got to be really nice thing for him to do this. So I'll stop and buy him a cup of coffee. So on the way back, we had, there was a dairy bar in Westchester. And we went in, sat down. And here we were in all our glory, with the bar coats and the beret hat and the galoshes and the whole thing. And just as we ordered some stuff, and just as I was about to get the order, about 10 of my students came in. And I thought, oh no, they're going to think this is my husband. He is not my husband. So anyway, I got through that and made some jokes about it, and that's the end of the story.